Does your golf swing look like this? Well, don't be discouraged. Stay tuned for Modern Golf, featuring Dave Hill, one of America's fine young touring professionals, and Hal Scheidler, the man who believes everyone can break 80. Hello, everyone. Welcome once again to Modern Golf, the show designed to help you take strokes off your golf game. My name is Hal Scheidler, and I do believe everyone can break 80, at least occasionally, and that's the purpose of our show. We're speaking to you today again from the beautiful Indian Wells Country Club at Palm Desert, California. And working with me on the show, as usual, one of America's fine young touring professionals, Mr. Dave Hill. Hi, Davey.
Hi, Hal.
What do you got there, buddy?
Well, I don't know. It's a putter with a camera on it, and I don't know what Harry has in mind, but if it doesn't do anything else, I'll show you how strong the shaft of the putter is.
I want to check your action with that.
Slow the stroke down.
Well, the only thing I can say, if Harry put that much work in putting it together just to get a golf shot or two, we better work with it.
We'll give it a go.
Fine. Maybe you'll find it interesting, too. Dave will be working on the putting green today, and although that's not the strongest point of his game, he's been doing a lot of work on his putting since we've been down here at Indian Wells, and we like to think that he's improved it a whole lot. Maybe he can help you to get that stroke of yours in good working order. Dave, you're going down to the practice tee right now?
Sure am, Hal. See you down there.
Good. I'll be joining Dave in just 1 minute. How about you coming along? We all know that the golf ball will go where we hit it. Here's a little sequence to show how you must swing that club if you want to hit it straight. The club head must travel parallel to the white line which is pointed at the target. In order to do that, the left arm must stay straight and firm so that the club head can extend out along the line. Any collapse of the left arm will shorten the arc and pull the club head to the inside. The right elbow stays in very close to the body, points to the ground at the top of the backswing, and actually leads the hands back to the ball. You do not strike at the ball with the right hand. The left hand pulls the club head down and out through the ball. Pull the butt of the club straight down into the shot. You hit down at the ball first, and then the turf. And the strong left arm will direct the club head parallel to the line of flight. Again, I say, until the left arm commands the shot and stays straight like this, you'll never be a very good player. This is Marcia Bennett, our lovely young student golfer. Marcia will be a very fine player one of these days. Now, today we've requested permission from several of the players here at the Indian Wells Country Club to photograph them as they played through the 5th hole. And Marcia, as you know, I've asked you to study amateur golfers wherever you had an opportunity, and I'd like to know what you found to be the two major faults of most amateurs.
Well, Hal, I found two main faults, actually. First, very few of the golfers hit through the ball from the inside out, and almost all of them have a complete collapse of the left arm way too soon.
And the result is the big banana ball, which is the bane of 90% of the amateur players in America today. Well, now we're going over behind the 50 and photograph some of the players as they go through and hit their tee shots. We do not know these people. In fact, we've never met them before. Harry simply set up his cameras behind the 5th tee, and we requested permission to photograph them. So let's go over now and see if the same faults that Marcia has found are predominant in these golfers. I'll simply comment on obvious reasons why these fellows have problems doing what I believe most everyone can do, break that magic mark of 80. Now, this young fella has no chance. He drops the club head at the top of the backswing, and all power is lost. This crouch and reaching for the ball tell me there's no way this gentleman can hit out through the shot. He must push or slice the ball. The right hand takes over at the top, and he cuts across the ball as the left arm collapses. He's blocking himself completely out of the shot. He should square up the feet and then go on through and finish high, but he doesn't. Well, Marcia, I think you've proved beyond any doubt that you have analyzed the swing of the average amateur correctly. Now, what would you suggest they do about it?
Well, I can tell them how you solved my problem for me. I had to learn to pull from the top with the left hand all the way through the shot and to keep the right elbow in close at all times.
Here's a strong young fella, but he's all tense and tied up. There's no freedom in this swing. You'll notice he just chops at it. Here's a very good approach to the ball, but the right hand is in full charge and will cast the club from the top. No chance till he develops the left arm. David?
Well, Hal, today on the practice tee, I think I was going to work with the 6-iron, and I'd like to show you some of the things that I do with it. And by working with a special club in your bag, you'll learn the different shots you can play with this one club. It's like, I like the club. It's a club I can hit hard and a club I can hit easy. And for the average player, it's a good club to learn with because he can make a full swing at it and get the ball up in the air, and he can hit it about 150 yards. With this club, I play a variations of shot, low ones, high ones, and I cut them and hook them. But I've learned through many hours of practice just what shot to expect and what shot I can play with this club. Now, if I got to go under some trees and keep the ball down for the first 20 yards, I can just move everything ahead of it and draw the arms over it in this fashion here, and the ball never gets more than 20 feet in the air. Of course, I'm only going to play that shot for about 140 yards. If I'm going to hit a longer shot and keep it down, then I got to spread the feet out and move the ball back, grip the club on the end, and draw everything over it in this fashion. And now the ball will go about 40 feet up in the air. And by working with this club many hours, I can just more or less look at a situation, say I'm in the woods, and see how high the ball can get and how low I'll have to keep it, and know exactly which club to use. And this is a great asset because therefore you normally come off pretty good when you hit it. A normal 6-iron, the feet are about as wide as the shoulders. You can see the hands are just ahead of the ball. I'll make a good turn, slow and easy, and try to stay with it. Never letting the head come up too fast. The longer you can keep the head behind the ball, the better the shot. And let me demonstrate the left arm, how the left arm leads and controls the swing. This is something Hal's talked about many times. And I'm a firm believer that the left arm controls the golf swing from the start of the swing to the very finish. You see the left arm leading all the way and the right arm's following. You let the right hand get ahead of the left and you've got yourself some problems.
Well, Tiger, I know you have a question for me. What is it?
Well, I hear and read an awful lot about the hip turn, the shifting of the weight to the left, but you hardly ever seem to mention either one. How come?
Well, Marcia, not because they aren't important. We simply have a different way of saying the same thing. I think if you can make one statement or give someone one thing to remember rather than 3 or 4, that you're a lot better off. So we constantly stress the pulling motion from the top of the swing with the left hand, as though you were reaching and getting the rope on a bell and pulling straight down at the ball with the left hand. If you do this, it is impossible to pull down with the left hand without shifting the weight, and so if you can shift the weight and make a natural hip turn without even thinking about it, it's much better. It's actually only a matter of communication. We know that the weight shift must move forward and that the hips must turn out of the way to clear the room for the right elbow to come through. However, we talk only about one thing. Remember this, when you get it to the top of the swing, pull straight down with the left hand. This keeps the club to the inside and will force a shifting of the weight without you even thinking anything about it. Next time you're out there, just try it. And remember, the speed and power in the golf swing is in the left hand, not the right. Well, Davy, I'm going to put your action in slow motion now and point up a few other components of the swing, starting with that little punch shot. You'll notice that Dave has choked down on the shaft about 3 inches. The head will stay behind the shot, and the left arm pulls the club head from the top through, and the finish is restricted. Now for the full shot, and check the stance. The club shaft and left arm form a straight line to the inside of the left shoulder. The hands are ahead of an imaginary line between the ball and David's head, the anchor point of the swing. The hands never lose this position and will again be in front of the ball before impact. The right hand never comes into play until the hands are in front of the ball. This is the best spot to prove the right hand action. When the right elbow is in the proper position, there is no strength in the right hand. You couldn't break an egg with it until the right arm straightens. Try it and you'll see. This is what ruins most golf swings. They want to hit with the right hand. To get strength in the right, the player either raises the elbow or throws the right shoulder forward. He is now outside the line and dead. There's a saying in golf, think left, play right. The more you think of your left arm, the better you'll play. Probably the greatest player in the world once said to me, Hal, no one ever hit it too hard with the left hand, but the worst amateur can hit it too hard with the right. Dave constantly reminds his left arm that it must be the boss. Harry Merrick and I have burned up several thousand feet of film in analyzing the golf swing, and once again I want to use some of this footage to dramatize several points it's impossible to truly see any other way. These scenes are shot at 4,000 frames per second using an experimental research camera normally used in space and ballistics investigation. The film comes in 100-foot rolls, which take only about a second to expose, so we can't include the entire swing. We actually started this shot just as Dave reached the top of the backswing, and you will note the hands are just now moving back into the frame, leading the club head into the ball. And believe it or not, the ball and club head are in actual contact for just 1/6,000th of a second. The left leg has straightened and is supporting Dave's entire weight. In this scene with the driver, you will note how far ahead of the club head the hands are as they get back even with the ball. This lagging of the club head has compressed all the energy and momentum of the swing, and it will be released just as though you were pulling the catch from a giant spring and permitting it to uncoil. As the club head attempts to catch up with the hands, tremendous club head speed is generated, and speed means distance in the golf swing. Again with the driver, top of the backswing, left heel on the ground, left knee forward toward the ball. The knees are flexed and now move laterally toward the target. I'm certain you can see the tremendous power which flows into the upper body because of this great leg action. Now the hands will come into sight although the club head is still waist high as it lags behind. Let me remind you that this club head is traveling so fast that it is in actual contact with the ball for only 1/6,000th of a second. You camera bugs can figure this out quickly from these figures. We were shooting 4,000 frames per second, and the ball and club face were in contact in just 2 frames. Your exposure formula tells the story. With all that great power, Dave still finishes the shot in perfect balance, the mark of a great swinger. Well, this is not so much a putting lesson as it is an explanation of 2 styles of putters. There's been quite a great deal of controversy stirred up over this particular putter, which they call either a croquet style or the pendulum putter versus the conventional putter. Dave uses the conventional putter, but we were talking about this in the clubhouse, and we felt that this particular putter does have a great deal of merit for a number of people, so we wanted to talk about it a little bit and explain it anyhow. Davey, would you first of all point up what you consider to be the better points of the pendulum or croquet putter?
Well, Hal, with this putter, it is easy to hit the ball on line. If you can, once you get it lined up, the secret of putting is to return the club head to the ball the same way you take it away. And going between your legs in this style, you take it away and return it the same every time. Where with this conventional putter, you can manipulate the club head a lot easier. In other words, push it or pull it. And when you got a 3-footer to make and you think it's going to break left and you're not sure, well, you have a tendency to toe it in. Where with this putter here, you just go right along the line. You can hit it along your intended line a lot easier.
Actually, Dave, you feel that it's the best, say, from 8 or 10 feet in, that it's a little difficult to judge distance when you get on the long ones. Is that true?
Yes, Hal. When you get a 30-footer with this putter, it takes a lot of practice to get the feel. Where with your conventional putter, you play golf that way, and you've been at it since you were a kid, so it doesn't bother you so much. But when you switch to go croquet style, it takes a lot of practice to get the feel of, say, 30-footers and 20-footers.
Marsh is going to give Davy a breather now and go in a few licks of her own. So, Marsh, let's start off with a little swinging exercise just to get those muscles loosened up. I'll get that left hand up on top so we can keep the club square. Okay, the right hand facing it. And pull it. Okay, full swing now. Okay. Full swing and pull it. Big finish. Pull it. Okay, once more and pull it. That's it. When you get it to the top, you pull straight down with the left hand, pulling the butt of the club directly at the ball. Keep both eyes on the ball until the club head strikes the ball and the ball is gone. Okay, set up the left hand, get it on top. Look directly at the ball with both eyes. Get the right elbow tucked in, the right hand underneath. Push it back with the left hand and pull the butt of the club straight down and out through the ball. Nice swing. Very good. Now we're letting it drift off to the right just a little bit, so let's turn the hands on just a fraction sooner as we get to the bottom. Turn the elbows in, keep the right elbow tucked in close to the side throughout the swing. Look directly at the ball with both eyes. Push the club back with the left hand and pull the butt of the club straight down at the ball. Okay, a little thin. You tried to get out of it and took your head off of the shot. Not quite enough left hand, a little too much right. We never turn the right hand on until we get completely into the shot. Okay, left hand up on top. Right hand underneath, square the head up with the ball, push the club to the inside with the left hand, keep the head behind the ball, and pull it. That's better. Okay, as you can see, Marsh still has a little work to do, but she's begun to move the ball real well now. Pretty soon we'll start striving for distance. So why don't you take our tip? Before you go out on the golf course, go to your professional, take at least 6 lessons, and whenever you get an opportunity, go out to the practice tee and practice. I think you'll get a lot more out of the game of golf. Thank you very much, Marsh. This is the 6th hole of the third 9 here at Indian Wells. and helps maintain this club's fine reputation for providing one of the most beautiful and interesting golf courses to be found anywhere in the world. It's par 4, and as most holes on this course, calls for good placement of the tee shot. All kinds of trees in trouble on the right, and if you get it left behind that large grove of trees, you have absolutely no chance to get home. The fairway dogs sharply left just beyond the trees, which are out about 200 yards. With two hands, the driver. Taking the shortcut over the trees on the left side, a fine shot in excellent position out about 270. Dave felt as though he cut that corner a little bit thin. With one hand, he's going to set it up straight away and will let the ball fall off to the right. Gets into it strong, and he really flushed that one. Right center of the fairway and some 15 yards in front of the first ball. With two hands, Davy has just a smooth 7-iron to the flag. He's setting up open and will try to get this ball high and cut it slightly so it will fall right and stop quickly. It's up well and the distance is good, but the ball doesn't fade and he's got a long putt left. Davy doesn't believe it. He's going to try the same shot with one hand, only this time he's going with the 8-iron. Much better this time. Fading to the flag and then taking a jump right, he's about an 18-footer left. This is a big green and neither of these putts are gimmies. Davy has about 35 feet here, and about all he wants to do is get it close and be sure and make 4. It's a little offline, but an acceptable lag. This one's about 18 feet. It's slightly uphill and should go right just before it gets to the hole. Good stroke, but too soft. The pro has to settle for a couple of par 4s and he's not too pleased. Actually, he played the hole well enough. I know I'd be happy, but it's pretty obvious Dave isn't. I don't think he liked the way he hit those approach shots. That brings us to the close of another edition of Modern Golf. I'd like to take this opportunity to express our thanks to all the fine people here at the Indian Wells Country Club at Palm Desert, California, for their excellent cooperation and help in filming this series. Davy, any final words for our viewers before we say good afternoon?
Yes, Hal, I would like to say a couple things about it. The people that are watching taking lessons, it would be wise to spend a half hour to an hour after the pro has finished with you and work on the things that he has found wrong with your game and try to incorporate some of the things you see here, especially the strong left side. I do believe it would help.
Well, Davy, don't you believe that they should actually concentrate in a practice session on one particular thing at a time?
Yes, Hal. You can't do more than one thing at a time on a practice tee and get it right. You have to work and work on one thing, and when you have that, then you go to another.
Fine. Thank you very much, David. We'll see you next week.
Yes, sir.
Okay, this is Hal Scheidler speaking for Dave Hill, reminding you we'll be here same time, same station next week. Until then, remember, keep your head down and your left arm straight. And believe me, you can break 80.